Hello, everyone. Welcome. Great to see everybody. I hope wherever you are, you have some sun shining, although I think a few of you really need some rain too. But it's great to see you here today. I'm going to get my chat open so I can see you on here. Hi, Christy. So good to see you. So glad you were able to make it today. So, we've got someone from Tennessee. Okay, I want to actually hear about Tennessee. I have a friend who lives there, and she is always telling me that I would love it. So, yay or nay on Tennessee? The land there looks so beautiful. If you don't know already, I'm in Washington State. Oh, you just moved there 10 days ago? Where did you move from, Kim? I'm glad you love it. Boston. Oh, so that's kind of like me. That's a big change. Yeah, I'm so ready to move to some warmer weather. I've had about all the rain that I can take in one lifetime. Nice to see everyone. So we'll go another minute or so before we get started. I want to make sure everyone has a chance to get in. There were a couple people who were having difficulties, so I want to make sure that we give them a minute. Hey, Coco, great to see you. All right, well, like I said, if you're just arriving, make sure you come say hi in the chat. I would love to see you, say hello. Hey, Rachel, great to see you. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're hoping to learn today. I'll go over this a little bit more when we get started, but so happy you guys were able to join today. Oh, so Kim's back home to the South, so you already know how good it could be. Yeah. So Christy, I'm so jealous of your guys' Michigan weather this year, which is not a sentence I ever thought I would say. But it looks like you guys have had so much more sun than us. I feel like we've been in winter for like 9 months straight, and then we had a heat wave, and then now it's back to just kind of cloudy and cool. So over it. All right, well, I want to honor everyone's time, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can get started today. All right. All right, well, you guys let me know in the chat if you are able to see that okay, if you're able to see the screen all right. It looks like you can on my end, but I want to be sure. Yep, okay, good. Awesome, thanks guys. All right. Well, like I said, welcome everyone. So glad you could join today. Make sure you say hi in the chat so we can get to know each other better. Tell us where you're from, maybe why you came here today, or what you're hoping to leave with. So we can make sure to talk about that with you. So if you have a question for me, make sure you put it in the Q&A box. I might feel like I'm ignoring you throughout the workshop, but I'll come back to them at the end. So if you do have a specific question, make sure that it's in the Q&A so it doesn't get lost in the chat. It's harder for me to find them that way. But I want to make sure that I get to all those at the end. So today's course is about urban homesteading, and we'll talk a lot more about what that is. But first, let's talk about this workshop. So I know it says 2 hours on here. I just wanted to block out enough time so that, hold on a second. It is asking some people for a password on Zoom. And I'm gonna see if I can just fix that real quick. Because I don't think it's supposed, those of you who are already here, did it ask you guys for a password too? I wonder. I'm not sure. It asks you to log into your Zoom account. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. There's nothing I can really do to help with that. So anyways, okay, we're gonna go back to it. Yeah, I bet it is their personal account for their Zoom. Bummer, they'll get the replay. So anyways, I wanted to block out enough time so that I could answer all the questions, but we probably won't go the full 2 hours. That's a long time for anyone to sit in front of a computer. All right, so I'm going to do my best to make this workshop really valuable for you and make it the best thing possible. But what's more important than that is what you do after this workshop. So that's why we're here, right? Is to get this information and then to go do something with it. So after this workshop, do you think you will be able to go start growing something to use and preserve on your own? My goal is that by the time you leave here today, you feel ready to go put something into action. And it can be anything. You know what you like, but be thinking throughout about something you would like to try and grow and preserve on your own. All right. Oh, present. So first of all, I love free stuff, and I love that you all took time out of your schedule to come join us today. So I want to share my gratitude by sharing a free present at the end. No one else on earth is getting this present. I've never done this one before, except for all you fine webinar people. So get excited. That's going to come at the end, and I'm super excited to share it with you today. All right. Ooh, hey, Brett. There's an even better present though. So over the course of this workshop, I am also going to show you how to spend less time here in the crowded grocery store with the broken cart and the long lines and the expensive price tags. It's amazing that we have grocery stores. They're incredible. I'm glad they exist, but I really, really hate going to them. So I don't know if there's anyone else out here who feels the same way, but they are definitely not my favorite places to be. And then I am all about action. So as an action taker, I really want to give you something that you can do about this today. So I promise to also leave you with a quick win, something you can do today that's easy and free and will help you set sail on your own urban homestead journey. So at the end of this, I'm going to give you something that's free and easy you can do to start right now today. So I have taught public school for 15 years. And as a teacher, I've been to a million trainings. And I know there's a big difference between the trainings that we choose to go to and then the ones that we have to go to. But there can be things about trainings that drive me a little crazy. Actually, even this picture drives me crazy because it just reminds me of all those bad trainings I had to go to. So I've developed some pet peeves about trainings over the years. And one of them is when people just start talking to me and I don't know like who they are, where they're from, what's going on. So I want to introduce myself to you proper. And the best way for me to do that is to go back to the 80s. So are you ready for this? I mean, if you weren't rocking a bowl cut in the 80s, what were you even doing with your life? I was the queen. I had a mean bowl cut. When my kid was little, I used to always give them a bowl cut until they were old enough to tell me that they didn't want me to do that anymore, but I'm a bowl cut super fan, and this picture is proof. So this is me when my parents had just bought some property and when I was little and my dad had just planted a cherry tree. Now, I have no recollection of this picture, but I share it because it's proof that our passions can often find us when we're still little. So let me know in the chat, have plants been something you've always been drawn to, or is it something that's maybe a newer passion? Oh, Christy had a bowl cut as well. Maybe we're the similar age. I don't know why, it's just like a power look for me, Christy. I love the bowl cut. But tell me, if plants are something that's more of a new passion for you or something that's been around for a while. So fast forward, speaking of 1985 in our time machine, this is a few years later. Rachel was into Aquanet by 85. Yeah, I remember Aquanet for sure. All the big, huge hair. I have all the yearbooks still of that. So this picture was a little bit later. So as I grew up, when I was about 15, I started working. I started working on greenhouses and landscaping companies, and like any normal teenager, started begging my parents to let me plant a vegetable garden or make space for the plants that I would save all my paychecks to buy. And so this is where I think it really turned me from being like a regular person to a plant fanatic, was in those greenhouses when I was a teenager. Okay, I'm just kidding. You can tell from that picture I was never a regular person. I never started being a regular person in the first place, but I think I'm eating an orange peel for some reason in this picture, but that's where my love of plants kind of grew into a career. And what about now? So now I have my own small urban homestead oasis in the city, and I use many organic gardening methods and preservation methods to use what I grow year round as herbal medicines, as tea, food to eat, of course, and I would love to show you how as well. So because of this passion for growing my own food, this is the reason why I founded The Little Green Shoot, your guide to urban homesteading, because I'm passionate about sharing with others that they can do this too. So I'm a writer and a teacher and a presenter who shares gardening tips, planning, cooking, preserving, information about medicinal herbs, all the live long day on social media or The Little Green Shoot. If you, like me, love free stuff, Instagram is one of the best places to go because I share a lot of free content on there. And because I am so passionate about this, I really want to show other people that they can do it too. But it did not start out like that. So are you ready to see a picture of my first urban homestead? Before I show you, I want you to remember the weirdo in the greenhouse and picture to yourself, what kind of urban homestead would this person create? All right, are you ready? Here we go. This is it. So a few years after the greenhouse picture, I moved out, and this was when I first moved to the city. And this is one of my first gardens. It's in the driveway of an old brick fourplex, growing corn and potatoes in a bin of bricks and beer bottles. And if you're wondering what that person is on the front, I think he was a cookie jar that I made in high school pottery class. I remember you could take off his crown. But this is where my first urban homestead was started back in the 90s. So like I mentioned before, a little bit of weird hobbies for a teenager just starting out in the world. But looking back now, I actually think it's kind of adorable that a teenage girl setting out on her own would feel called to do this. But obviously, you can see I had some obstacles here. And maybe some of the obstacles I had are the same that you have now. So lack of time, lack of space, lack of resources, lack of skills, lack of knowledge. And so with what I had to work with, this was the best I could do. And did I love my little garden? Yes. Did it do that much for me? No. So let me know in the chat, have you had a similar experience? Did you ever have a funny little garden like this one? Or maybe a real garden that went sideways on you? Maybe it's still there watching you. I know my garden, I have to walk through it when I get home, to walk past it to get in my door. And sometimes I walk like this because it's like overwhelming to me. It's like all your failures are standing at you like, remember me, or you're a failure, that kind of thing. Coco, that's great that your green thumb is succulents, because I think a lot of people really struggle with succulents. So that's good that you're able to grow those. Those can be a little bit challenging. So basically, in other words, do you have a space like this? I say this not because you are a failure at all, but it's just because we've all been there. Maybe all of us have a little place in our yards like this one, or maybe we haven't started a place at all yet, but own up to it in the chat. Is this you? Do you have a little neglected space like this one? Or maybe you're in a smaller space where you don't have room outside to grow anything yet. But I want to know, do you have a place like this that's kind of haunting you that maybe you'd started before? I also want to call out that my little garden in the city was kind of a novelty. At that time, even though I was a broke teenager, I could still go to the grocery store and buy what I needed. There weren't shortages or crazy price hikes like that we're seeing now. There was not as much uncertainty. So now things are a lot different. And there are shortages now. Like, things aren't the same, things are more expensive, things might not be there as much as we had hoped. They're a lot different now. So back then, a garden could be a novelty item, something a kid does for fun. But my question for you in these times is this: is having your own garden still a novelty now, or is having your own food producing garden more imperative to you in these times? So let me know in the chat. Is this something that you feel like is really important right now to do? So what is urban homesteading and why should we do it? Oh yeah, it looks like it's very important to you guys as well. So we're all in the right place. That's what we're going to learn how to do here today. So urban homesteading allows people in smaller spaces in the city to be independent and sustainable as they grow their own food and medicines. But in urban homesteads, we are more limited. We're in smaller spaces. So a lot of times in your urban homestead, you might be supplementing from a farm, a farmer's market, a quality food wholesaler where you can buy in bulk, friends and family gifting you things from their garden. But urban homesteading, whichever way you do it, is a great way to be more healthy, save money, be more independent, and connect with your community. So the past few years have really shown us that we need to do as much as we can for ourselves and others so that we can be prepared for whatever's coming our way. And you can actually do this without, and I just want to say, I want to go back here for just a second. I don't say any of this stuff because I want to be scary or paranoid or anything like that. I say it because it's a time to take our power back. A lot of the things that are going on right now are actually opportunities for us to do good things for ourselves. And growing our own food can be life-changing. And even though these times have felt heavy and hard for many of us, in every hard time, there is a beautiful opportunity for you to do something better. And so as you're going along, I would just invite you to keep that thought with you, that in every challenge, there is an opportunity for you to do something better than you were doing it before. All right. So the struggle bus. We can actually start growing food without all the rides on the struggle bus. Of course, there is power in struggle. Through struggle, we find the way. We find lessons that become wisdom to help us. But we don't want to struggle needlessly and go in without a plan. So I want to see if I can save you from some of my struggle buses. So let me know in the chat if you ride on any of these struggle buses too. So lack of knowledge, lack of time, lack of patience, that's a huge one for me, lack of skill, lack of money, lack of energy, inadequate garden spaces. Chronic illness is a big one for me. I hope none of you have this one, but as someone who's struggled lifelong with chronic illness, I had to find ways for my garden to thrive even when I couldn't thrive. So that's been something that has been challenging for me. And that I've overcome and want to share with others. Brett says learning the skills. Yeah, I think skills can actually be one of the easiest things to learn. Things like patience are a little bit harder, but yeah, you're going to be able to learn the skills, no problem, Brett. All right, so there are three main struggle buses that we all ride on, but we don't have to. So these are three limiting beliefs that can hold us back from growing our own food. So they happen to be the same struggle buses that we ride with most things. So not just urban homesteading, but these can be the three main things that hold us back in many areas. It's too hard, I don't have time, and it's too expensive. Has anyone ever felt like that? I know, I need 3 hands to raise my hand for all of them. But lucky for you, there are actually 3 secrets that can pull those little struggle bus strings and let us off the bus. I'm from a really small town, and when I moved to the city, I remember having so much anxiety as like a little teenager, like, when do I pull that little cord to get off the bus? But these 3 secrets are going to let us pull the cords and get off the struggle buses. So we'll talk about those as we go. We're going to talk about each one. So the first one, it's too hard. It's not too hard. We just need the right tools. Everything is hard at first. We just need to learn some skills, like Brett and I were just talking about, to start off on the right foot and build from there. And by the right tools, I mean skills, knowledge. Knowledge is power. Hard is a mindset. So look for ways to let this be easy. Oh no, Chrissy had bugs eat her kale and cauliflower. Yes. I wish I could say that that wasn't going to continue to happen, but that's something all gardeners struggle with. And Rachel figuring out exactly the moods of her temperamental plants. Yeah, that's a big one too. So in this workshop, we are going to cover lots of things. It's really robust. We're going to cover a ton of things. In addition to this overview, at the end, I'm also going to offer you a course that's brand new. I'll tell you more about it as we go. So if you're someone who's looking for more detail, that can help a lot too. So here are a few of the main topics we're going to cover today. There are 7 stages of urban homesteading, and depending where you are in your journey, you could be in all different ones. It doesn't matter if you're in one and not another, because this is cyclical and you're going to be doing each of these things to some extent every year. So you're just going to build and expand on those. Oh, and bugs are eating Coco's kale. Oh, but no, she says bugs can eat all the kale. I love kale, but I'm the only one in my family that does. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here are the 7 steps. Plan, prep, plant, grow, harvest, cook, and preserved. Yes, Kim, there's going to be a recording, but it's for a really limited time and then it expires. So make sure you check your email today and tomorrow to get the replay. All right, so the first is planning. Planning your space is so important. It can be easy to just start without really thinking about it. I'm definitely guilty of that, just wanting to jump in. But it will truly save you so much time, money, and heartache if you start with a plan. So planning is before you plant anything, what you need to do, okay? So you should have thought out not just what you want to grow, though. You want to also talk about what kind of lights it get, what kind of light your plants need, how you're going to water consistently, what tools you need, what kind of harvest you want, what types of bugs to look out for as friends and foes. For what you'll grow, this is the fun part. So spend some time thinking about what you would like to grow. So is it fruit, herbs, vegetables, things to eat fresh, things to preserve, maybe a little of everything, only tomatoes? What are you thinking? Type in the chat. Let me know. What are you hoping to start growing soon, or maybe something that you've already started growing? Then you also want to plan your harvest. So if you want to save money, preserving what you grow is one of the best things that you can do. So think of things you'd like to have on your shelves all winter and be sure to grow those things. And some things to keep in mind. Unfortunately, just loving something won't make it grow in your area. So you want to start with making a wish list, then do some research to see if that plant actually grows where you live. Oh, Brett has lots of tomatoes and doesn't know what to do with them. Yes, I would can them, Brett. Have some tomatoes on your shelves all winter. All right, after you get through the planning, you're going to move on to prep. This is when we move from our imagination into our hands doing the real work. And this is where you start building your space. So whether your space is going to be just a small raised bed in your backyard, or a windowsill garden or a balcony garden in your apartment, or maybe something in a larger area of your garden, this is where you're going to actually do the work to build it. Here's where the real work starts, like I said. So you're going to get out of your imagination and hit the ground running. Don't let this list overwhelm you. So your bed can be something like a mound of soil in your yard that you amend with some compost. Your watering system could just be a sprinkler or a watering can. You may not need trellises this year. You may have some tools already on hand, or you could borrow from a family member. Maybe you're just going to get 1 bag of organic fertilizer this year. If seeds feel overwhelming, you can buy starts, baby plants from the nursery. But your garden can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. So I really encourage people to start small so you don't get too overwhelmed as you're getting started. You want to build that momentum and build your confidence. Okay, prep your space. So if you want more of a step-by-step guide, I'll talk about this at the end, but the Beginning Gardener's Toolbox is included with this urban homesteading course, and it's going to walk you through all the details. So if you're like, what do I look for? Don't worry, that'll be an option for you at the end. But I want you to be prepared. So there are many things, we've talked about some of them already in the chat, that can thwart your hard work in the garden, and we want to avoid that as much as possible. So the toolbox also goes over some beneficial insects and troublemakers, a tool guide, that kind of thing. But we live in a world where almost everything is Googleable. I think that's a made-up word, but it's still a good word. Does anyone know this pest in the middle picture? Does anybody know what pest that is for your garden? So these are aphids. And these ones happen to be black. They're a lot of times green. They can be different colors. These guys are actually born pregnant, you guys, and they love to eat the tender new growth on your plants. So this is not a garden BFF. And you maybe have seen those in your garden. Luckily, they're pretty easy to get rid of. And does anybody know what's causing the problem with the, I know, Coco, just wrong to be born pregnant. Oh yeah, Christy, they do. They love roses. Look at the tomato on the end. Does anybody know what's going wrong with that guy there? So that's called blossom end rot. Yep, Coco got it. And that's caused by a deficiency in calcium. So one way you can avoid that is you just plop an egg when you're planting your tomato plant, an egg with each plant. That'll give it enough calcium so you can avoid all this in the first place. All right, but I want to tell you anything. I think I got everything I needed to tell you on that one. All right. So it's not hard. Like I said, we just need the right tools. All the things that we do in life are hard at first. We just need to learn some new skills and start off on the right foot. If you're feeling overwhelmed here, don't. All of these problems can happen and the world will still spin. Every gardener struggles with different things. The secret is arming ourselves with the knowledge and proper mindset to believe we have what it takes and to take things in stride if they don't go our way the first time. So like I said, hard is a mindset. You want to look for ways to let it be easy. All right, let's get to the good part. Once your garden is planned and prepped, you finally get to the good part, which is planting. And this is most people's favorite, getting all those beautiful plants and setting them free into the world. It's so fun. So we'll cover the basics here on how to plant your dream garden. So these are some things to keep in mind when you're planting. Again, I would start small. It's really easy to get overwhelmed and get excited and just plant everything, which is totally fine, but don't beat yourself up if it gets away from you. There's always next year. So here are some things to keep in mind with planting. Plant what you like. Don't get swooped into buying something because it has a really cool name. If you have a limited space, you have to be careful with what you choose to plant. If you have tons of space, grow everything, of course. Start small, don't plant too much. It can be really overwhelming. If you have plants coming out of your ears at harvest time, you have too many zucchini or whatever you have all around. Plant for your zone. So look up your zone and find out what grows well in your area. You want to read the labels on your plants. They'll tell you the spacing requirements, the soil requirements, how much light they need. Know when to plant. We'll talk later, but there's lots of different times to plant. Actually, it's not just one growing season. You have lots of options. Lighting requirements. So is it a plant that needs sun or shade? And then there's also different actual plants. So maybe you're going to plant from seed or starts, crowns, bare root. We'll talk a little bit about all those. All right. So like I said, you can actually plant different gardens throughout the year to maximize your small space in a city. Here are some examples of different gardens in different seasons. And then keep in mind, not all plants are best grown as seeds. There's actually many different ways to start plants, and the course has a more in-depth guide. And there's tons of free resources on my website too. But here's a quick outline to get you started on what kind of plants you might want to grow. This would be a good one to screenshot too, for what plants grow best in what ways. Oh, there we go. There's a little delay. There he goes. All right. So going back to that limiting belief, it's not too hard. We just need the right tools. You guys, we spent all this time on this false belief because it is such a big one. Once you believe you can do something and it's important to you, you'll do it, and that's it. So the work here is in shifting your mindset. And you do this through getting what you need, the right tools, the right skills, the right knowledge. This brings us to limiting belief number 2. I don't have time. So we all have the same amount of time in our day, 24 hours, and we get to decide how to use those hours. When things are really important to us, we simply make the time for them. Sometimes scrolling on our phone for hours and hours is the most important thing to us. We know that because that's what we're doing, right? Other times it's other things. Homesteading will take time, but lucky for you, I have some shortcuts. So let's change that limiting belief to I don't have time to make it something more manageable. Let's change it to I can spend 15 minutes a week to grow my own food. You get to decide how much you want to put into this. You can have a windowsill or balcony garden that hardly takes any time at all. Or maybe you have a bigger garden that might take a little bit more time, and you need to learn 4 ways to make it automated and build habits so you can shrink your time down in there too. The next stage of urban homesteading is going to offer us lots of different ways to make habits and build shortcuts too. This is the growing stage. So this phase of your urban homestead is where you learn the most. A lot of people think you can just throw seeds in the ground, walk away, and that's it. That's very uncommon to work, you guys. So the growth stage will actually find you watering, weeding, discovering new bugs and diseases, learning new ways to be patient, and making all kinds of discoveries about yourself and your garden. So here are some things to be thinking of in the grow stage. You want to water, look for ways to automate your watering plan if you can. Be there and be out there observing and looking for things that might be going right or wrong in your garden so that you can kind of stop those problems before they start, before they get too big or out of control. Watering is a big one. I think that's where a lot of gardeners can lose their momentum because it's something you need to do so consistently. So finding a plan to automate that is a game changer. You're also going to be checking for pests and diseases, doing maybe some organic fertilizing, pruning, deadheading, cleaning up your area. The big one is patience. I don't think it's even on this graphic, but you guys, patience is something I will maybe never be, but your garden will definitely stretch you to get a little more patient each year. And the best thing about gardening is everything you learn, you can apply next year. So nothing's lost. You'll have years where everything does great, and you'll have years where everything tanks. And, you know, that happens with all gardeners. So just be easy on yourself when that happens. And then just get growing. So you've planned, prepped, and planted, and now you're going to tend this kind of ever-evolving masterpiece that you've created by maintaining it, checking for weeds, disease, bugs, and find ways to build habits that make this easier and quicker. The course has a lot of recommendations for that as well. So here you are, just growing, maintaining, and being patient in your garden. And I just want to say you got this. Gardening is truly a skill that develops and grows over the course of a lifetime. It's best to start small and focus on what you really want to grow. Familiarize yourself with methods that you can feel good about. Start with the basics like quality soil, maybe some organic fertilizer or compost, and a good watering plan. But don't lose steam after you've planted your garden. After you've done all that work, the last thing you want to do is, you know, walk away from it. Maintenance is one of the easier parts of gardening, but you still have to do it. You still need to be out there. All right, this is where the fruits of your labor come in. For me, this is the most exciting and fulfilling part of gardening, when your bounty starts to get ripe. So just as you plant at different times, you're also going to harvest at different times throughout the year, usually beginning in the early spring and ending in the late fall. But depending on your climate, you'll also be able to do some harvesting in the winter, especially with things like rosemary or thyme or bay leaves. Again, this is pretty weather dependent on where you live. But harvest is a place where we can find those shortcuts and create habits to let it be easy too. So think about that false belief, and really you can find ways to make this more time manageable. So I want to talk about limiting belief number 3. this next stage of homesteading is where we can really put this one into place. It's too expensive. I don't have money for all the tools I need or the equipments or the plants. But the secret is gardens actually save money. So gardens are definitely an investment in the beginning, but you pay most of the money up front. And then after your initial investment, that's something that you have for years to come, the knowledge you have for years to come. And as long as you nurture it, then you can maintain it. And then you're just going to have some much lower costs the years to come. Okay. So gardens all actually save money because once it's established, you really will save a lot of money at the grocery store because you're going to be growing those things on your own, especially right now, you guys, when everything's so expensive, if they even have it. So you could do a big initial investment in the beginning and really make something huge, or you could just start small, make a really small investment right now and add a small investment each year. Just do whatever feels comfortable and feels best for you. So like I said, this is the part, harvest season, where that money saving really starts to come in. You finally get to see the fruits of your labor, everything that you've worked so hard on. And while this is the most exciting part for a lot of people, it can also be the most stressful when everything starts ripening at once. So having a plan will help you stay sane and help you use everything efficiently. It's really hard if you plant too much and you put all this effort into everything and then you get totally overwhelmed at harvest season and you don't know what to do. So some things you can do to help with that are have a plan, of course, get some help, have your friends and family come help you harvest, give them some trades, come help me pick blueberries and you can have blueberries. Cook based on your harvest. So plan some recipes that you're going to make when your fruits and vegetables are coming in based on those ingredients. Share your abundance with others, whether they're people you know or people you don't. Find some ways that you can share it with people. It feels so good to do that. Preserve your extra. This is a huge one we're going to talk about in a minute. And learning when and how to harvest the right way. Last one is stay calm. It's a lot. So sometimes your harvest season can be a really stressful, busy season because you're trying to not waste anything that you've grown, and sometimes everything can come in at once. So plan some free days where you take the time to really harvest your garden so nothing goes south on you. It's just a busy time, and knowing that going in will help. So this is where your garden really becomes an addiction. Once you realize your power and your strength along with your creativity, it's really difficult to go back to the store. The rewards are endless when you start growing your own food. You're no longer limited by what the store chooses for you. You get to be in control of what you're making, what you're eating, what you're growing. So all that yummy nutrition goes straight from your own land and your own hands into your belly. You don't have to worry about shortages, delays, or paying for anything. Doesn't that sound great to just go get something for free from your garden instead of getting in your car, going through, like for me, I have to go through so much traffic, just even though the store is so close to me. And instead you can just go to your windowsill or go out to your yard or your community garden space and just snap out what you need. So after you see what you're truly capable of, it's my prediction that you will want to have a garden for the rest of your days. There is such strength and self-reliance in this, and such growth in yourself as you learn new skills. There's such a connection between sharing with your community or the convenience of skipping the grocery store. When I go to the grocery store and I see that little like wilted herb for $8 in that tiny package, I'm just like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to buy that because I have one bush that can fill that need for me for forever for free. And I know I never have to spend money on those sad little herbs again because they are just so expensive right now. All right, if you have a homestead, you need to cook or find someone who will cook for you because there's a lot and you get to make some really cool things with it. So this is where your creativity will really soar. There are so many things to make with your abundant harvest. Planning recipes that go with your garden will utilize what you grow and taste delicious. So I'm going to be sharing a couple recipes with you today, and there are loads more available in the course and on my website, thelittlegreenshoot.com. So this is also a place where you can have really big cost savings because you won't be buying as many groceries at the store or going out to eat as much because your own garden is going to be providing that for you. You'll notice these steps for cooking are a lot like the harvest ones. You want to have a plan and some help if possible. And sharing your creations makes them 10 times better. So imagine cooking something that you've grown yourself and bringing it to where you work or in your community and sharing it with others. It's just such a cool thing. You're also going to preserve your extra, get creative in the kitchen, use recipes and resources, whether they're old family recipes or something new that maybe you found online, something that I'm going to share with you, but try some old favorites, but also try some new things. You might be able to use more ingredients now that you're growing your own things. Freezer meals are another really great way to save money. So making meals at the height of summer to just throw in the freezer and forget about, and then in the winter when it's rainy and cold and you're exhausted from work, you can just have that thawing and pop it in the oven. We call those meals belly hugs at our house, where it's just like that little warm comfort is a really good way to preserve what you've grown for literally a rainy day in your future. So here's some examples of some things that I like to make in my own kitchen. So these are some pancakes. The recipe for those is on my website. I have lots of blueberry plants, so that's there. Who doesn't love a nice Bloody Mary? I grow my own horseradish, so that's the secret ingredient in that Bloody Mary there. And then the last one, excuse me, is a squash soup. Squash is something that really preserves well, that you can keep on hand all year round and you won't have to buy it at the store anymore. So that's a good one too. And you can see that I've got some fresh herbs on top of there. Growing your own herbs is a really easy kind of show-stopping thing to do as a cook, and they have such great medicinal and nutritional value. So even if you're only going to start with one thing today, I would highly recommend herbs. And sometimes you can grow those inside if you don't have the space outside as well. So you're going to showcase your incredible fruits and vegetables in your own signature dishes, like I mentioned, and then some of those tried and true family recipe. Again, make sure to stay till the end because I have something really cool to give you guys with this. Here we've got some marinara sauce from the tomatoes and onions and garlic and herbs in my garden. If you go to my website, there's a way to make free vegetable stock. Awesome. And then I've got another soup there too. So by now, your garden has provided you lessons, joy, patience, wisdom, and bounty. You've planned and created a beautiful functional space and taken care of it. And you've probably learned some even better ways to take care of it next year. Your bellies are full without emptying your pocket at the grocery store, but there's only so much delicious abundance that one person can eat, which is why the next step is so important. And by the way, this is an apple pie I made for my family after they helped me harvest 50 pounds of apples. I put their names on the pie like as a thank you, because that was a lot of work. All right, preserve. Oh, thanks, Coco. One of the most practical and money-saving parts of urban homesteading is the mini grocery store that you will create for yourself in your own home. So preserving your harvest is an excellent way to provide valuable nutrition for yourself and your family and your friends from your own land all year round. It's really, you guys, it's beautiful and it's empowering and it's something that everyone can do. So I'm going to share a few preservation methods with you guys. So this is one of my favorite parts of urban homesteading, is kind of taking everything and making it into something. I still remember when I was little, I'm from Washington State, and so we would pick snowberries and like rhododendron blossoms and grind them up on tree stumps to make perfume for our moms and aunties. Like, we just thought it was so cool to take these things and create something out of it. And I find myself as an old lady still doing these things. It's just really cool. So these are some ways you can preserve your garden. Freezer meals, like I said, or freezing your fruits and vegetables. Dehydrating is one of my favorite methods because you can do it completely for free, or you can get a dehydrator. Canning and pressure canning, like we have in the photo here. These are things that you can keep on your shelf and safely have for free for the year, so it's just really great. You can also make infusions where you're taking an herb or different things and you're infusing it into vinegar or oil, or if it's a tea, water, and getting the medicinal properties and the flavor. Doing those flavored oils or vinegars is a great gift to give around the holidays too. Fermenting is another method, and then tinctures. So if you're using glycerin or alcohol to extract the medicinal benefits from a plant, that's another way you can do it. This might be another one you'd like to screenshot. These are just some definitions of the different preservation methods. Yes, Christy, you would love dehydrating. I would totally try it. Maybe we can talk after and I can give you some ideas, but I've heard the Excalibur is a really good dehydrator too. Mine, I forget the name of mine, but they're awesome to have. To me, like that's one of my favorite purchases that I've made for my homestead is a dehydrator. And then here's some examples of different foods you can make with different preservation methods. You might want to screenshot this one as well. All right. So here are some things around my house that I've preserved. The opportunities are endless. These are some things from my pantry. So I've got some raspberry leaf tea. If you go on my Instagram, I've got tons of stuff. I think I have a couple blog posts about that too. It's a really healing herb. The middle one is chive blossom infused vinegar that you can use to make salads, delicious. And then on the end there, I've got some rhubarb, Concord grape, and raspberry jams. So type in the chat, what are some things that maybe you would like to preserve? Christy, maybe there's something like herbs or different fruits that you'd like to try in the dehydrator too, but is there something that you really had on your mind, whether it's canning tomatoes or making some tea? Put in the chat if there's something that you would like to try and preserve. So here's where you get to spread the love all year round. These things can be great gifts for people. It's a great way to use the extra in your garden to be kind to others. Oh, Christy's gonna make jam. So cocoa, sun-dried tomatoes are the same as dehydrated tomatoes. I actually usually use those in my dehydrator. They are so good. You're never going to want to eat them from the store again after you make your own. And I haven't even been putting them in the oil. I've just been dehydrating them, eating them like a little snack. But I want to try the oil ones this year too for cooking and everything, but they're amazing. So like I said, these methods of preserving are mostly cheap and easy. Here we have some pickled red onions, dried herbs, so easy and free, you just hang them to dry, and homemade garlic powder. If you'd like the recipe for that, it's on my website for free too. Christy, for the sun-dried tomatoes, the ones I like to use the best are the little cherry tomatoes. And then I just cut them in half and put them in there like that. And you're such a great cook. You could make really cool things with those. You should try that in one of your next recipes. Just saying. All right. Before I learned how to preserve, harvest time really stressed me out. I didn't want any of my hard work to go to waste. And while preserving during harvest season can be really busy, it's also really rewarding. So I make jam to give away as holiday gifts. I dry loads of herbs for winter cooking to have on hand all year. You'll usually find me in the winter with a nice hot mug of herbal tea of herbs that I've harvested myself in the summertime. It's kind of like a way of bringing summer into your cold weather times, which in Washington we have a lot. Yes, Brett, you totally could do that. For sure. But anyways, this preservation part of the homestead is where, and the cooking phase too, it's where we really start to save money. So like I said, gardening actually saves you money. Going back to that limiting belief that it's too expensive, once your garden's established, it will save you money at the grocery store. So especially in current times of rising costs and shortages, you can start small and make this initial investment and then add a little more each year. But even if you just started growing herbs on your own, think of all the cost savings that would be. Oh, Rachel, homemade strawberry jam and apple butter. That sounds so good. Yum. So I told you guys at the beginning about the struggles that we all share, these 3 struggle buses that we all ride but don't have to. It's too hard, I don't have time, and it's too expensive. but I also shared the 3 secrets that we unlocked to kind of put a red X through our limiting beliefs, and go after what's really important for us and not be held back anymore. So after unlocking these 3 secrets, we know we actually just need the right tools. We can spend 15 minutes a week growing our own food, and gardens actually save us money. So there is a lot to learn when it comes to urban homesteading. What's great about it, though, like I've been saying this whole time, is you can start really small and make it as big as you'd like. But that's why I created a course. I wanted to take all of my lessons and trials and tribulations and serve them up to you guys in a simple, easy to digest package, and hopefully save some of you some rides that I took myself on the struggle bus. So does anyone right now feel like this? This is a picture of how I feel a lot of times after workshops and webinars, like, oh, it's just so much information. And I know it can be a little bit overwhelming trying to figure out where to start. So tell me in the chat how you're feeling so far about this information. Hopefully not too overwhelmed, but I understand if you are. Well, it doesn't need to be confusing. Oh, Christy, I'm glad I've simplified it. That's one of my passions is taking big, complicated explanations and making them simple to understand, because that's how I learn best. Ooh, Brett's got lots of ideas coming. Good. All right. So it does not need to be confusing. Some of you will feel really confident to go get started on your own after this, and you're going to do great. Like I said, I also have some free gifts at the end that are going to really help you with that. But my main goal here is to remind people that they have what it takes to independently grow their own food, have better health, and have more security. For those of you wanting more, I have a really exciting opportunity for you as well. I'm so excited to share it. It's a course for you. And this is a course that will take you independently through all the steps you need to go from someone brand new to the idea of gardening all the way to someone who is growing and preserving their own food over the span of one growing season. It's called Homestead in the City, and I'm really proud of it. Can you let me know in the chat if you'd like to know a little bit more about it? If I can share my project with you. Christy says yes. Okay. 1 yes is all I need, Christy. Oh, good. I got an absolutely. Yay. Okay, Brett. Okay. I got enough yeses. Here we go. So this course will go into detail of everything we've discussed today. Each module is one of the 7 steps to creating your urban homestead. So plan, prep, plant, grow, harvest, cook, preserve. Those are the stages that you'll go through. Here is a big overview of the course, but we're going to go into a little bit more detail. So what are you going to get if you get this course? The first thing you're going to get is lifetime access to the course, which means as long as this course exists, you have it. No expiration date, and this includes access to any future updates. I know it drives me crazy when I buy something and then they're like, this expires in 1 month. And I'm like, but I bought it and you're taking it back. So you're not going to have to worry about that. As long as this course exists, it is yours to keep, and you'll get the updates as well. Lifetime access. So like I said, this means no expiration date. It's yours for good. So you're going to get the lifetime access. You're going to get the video lessons taking you through every step of your journey as well. So let me tell you a little bit about that. Each of these modules will have detailed video instructions and presentations, so you're never going to be left wondering what to do next. All right, what else do you need? As much as I am proud of these things and know they will help you, you need and deserve a little bit more. So the next thing you're going to get is interactive guides and journals. Some of us are better being able to read ideas and have a place to collect our thoughts and ideas, which is why each module also comes with its own interactive journal and guide that you can keep digital or print out. And you guys, these are so in-depth. This is just 4 pages of one journal. There's a lot of really good information here and a lot of really good places for you to collect your own thoughts and keep track of your urban homestead as well. So you're going to get the lifetime access, which is a $297 value. the video lessons taking you through each step, which is a $97 video or value, the interactive guides, which are $120 value. But what else do you need? I knew many of you would also need some assistance creating or at least sprucing up your space. And so I'm also including the Beginning Gardener's Toolbox, which I mentioned earlier. This is everything you need to start your space in one toolbox, everything from space, light, imagination, soil, making a watering plan, tools, friends and foes in the garden, and even my favorite music to listen to while you're working. It's got a huge playlist that I get to share with you as well. And if you've already purchased this in the past, you should have already gotten a coupon code from me for the course. So let me know if you didn't. So you'll get the lifetime access, the video lessons, the journals, the Beginning Gardener's Toolbox, which is a $75 value. So that's already making this worth $589. But what are you going to actually learn? So this slide, you guys, my notes are so long, I can't even go into all the things, but it's going to take you through the whole process of creating your own thriving urban homestead. This proven step-by-step process can be completed at your own pace in one growing season. You're going to go over in depth all the different modules of the 7 steps. And I have so many notes on this. I can't read all this to you guys. There's so much. Weeding tips, tips on planting, how to avoid overwhelm, how to stock a homestead kitchen, food preservation methods, tips on planting, a plan for creating your garden, and all the things we've talked about on this course, just more in depth. And that information to me is priceless. That's something you get to keep with you forever. So you'll have the lifetime access, all the videos, all the journals, the whole Beginning Gardener's Toolbox, all of that knowledge. But you need to know what to do with the food you are growing. This is maybe my favorite part of the course. So as your garden grows, you're going to come up with all kinds of recipes, but it's also nice to have a few ready to go as you're getting started. So I've also included this digital mini cookbook, which is a $29 value. And it includes some of my favorite garden recipes, like my famous marinara, my chili, salads, soups, pie, drinks, borage lemonade, some medicinal herbal teas, and they're great for people with dietary restrictions too. So they're mostly plant-based and gluten-free recipes. But don't worry, if you don't have chronic illness and you don't have to eat crazy like I do, there's swaps available. You can throw your gluten in, you can throw your dairy in. But if you are someone who's got restrictions, these recipes are wonderful. And besides being healthy, they're also delicious. So this will get you started being creative in the kitchen, and then you can branch off from there. So you'll get the lifetime access, the videos, the journals and guides, the whole Beginning Gardener's Toolbox, all of that knowledge about how to do all these things, the mini cookbook, but you need something else. One of the biggest mistakes I see people making is going this alone, which is why you're also going to get access to our Vibrant Growing Facebook community. When you're doing this, you need a community to ask questions, share experience, get help and guidance, celebrate together, complain together. So you will have access to our private Facebook group, so you can do just that. All right, so you guys, this really is a comprehensive course. You're getting so much. You get the lifetime access, all the video lessons, all the journals and guides, the whole toolbox, all that knowledge that you're going to keep forever, the mini cookbook, the private Facebook community, which is value, and all together, this is worth over $697. But I really want to get this into as many hands as possible, so I am not going to be charging you that today. But what if all this did was give you the tools that you need to let your food grow easy? Would it be worth it? If all this did was give you the habits you need to start gardening for growing your own food in only 15 minutes a week, would that be worth it? If all this did was save you money, would it be worth it? If all this did was give you the cost, stress, and crowds of endless trips to the grocery store, would it be worth it? So you're going to get all these things. You can see the value, you can see that it's worth it, and you can see why it's a great deal at $497. And you can see why when I offer this year, it will still be a great deal at $297. But by being here today, you guys are going to get in on the inaugural offer. I'm glad you like the journals, Rachel. They're so cool. I can show all of them on here. So I want to get this into as many hands as I can. I really want people to feel empowered, be able to do this in these times. It's important. So by being here today, you guys get the inaugural offer of only $149. That is less than one trip to the grocery store. So $149 is incredible value for this course. And like I said, I want to remove as many barriers as possible. So I also have a way for you to break this into payments if you need to as well. So let me share a little bit about that. So while $149 is an awesome deal, if it's still a lot right now, I want to share something. When you go to the cart to purchase this course, if you click the PayPal link over here, they have something really cool that I want to share with you guys. So they're one of our payment processors, and they have a plan where you don't have to make payments or pay interest for 6 months. So you have from now until 6 months to pay the $149, and you can break that up into however much you want to pay per month, or maybe you've got a big check coming in next month and you could just pay the whole thing off. I don't normally recommend using credit cards, but I just think for this amount in this situation, I think it's a really good offer from PayPal. So don't feel at all like you need to, but I just wanted to share that with you in case that was an issue for anyone. You can read their terms and see if you think it's something that's right for you. Okay. All that stuff, you guys, and I'm even adding something else. So there's one more thing on top of that. Anyone who enrolls before the timer ends at the end of this workshop is also going to receive these 2 bonuses. The Little Green Shoot Guide to Onions, which shows you how to start, plant, grow, harvest, and preserve onions. So that you can have them all year and not need to buy them at the grocery store anymore. And then I love this webinar. This is a really good one, especially if you're like, where can I put this garden? 7 Ways to Maximize Your Growing Space is a webinar that really gets you to see your space with fresh eyes and get some different ideas that way. So if you enroll by the time the timer goes off today, you'll get both of those too. Like I said, I love free stuff. I really want to give everyone as much as I possibly can. So at the beginning of this workshop, I told you my wish for you was to feel the freedom of spending less time at the grocery store, in the crowds with the broken cart and the long lines and the expensive price tags. And I want you to let me know in the chat after today's presentation, do you feel like there is a way for you to make this happen? Do you feel like this is something that's attainable for you, that you could start growing something to save you from being here as much of the time? Brett says she wants that space webinar. Yeah, I love that one. It really opens your eyes to things that you might not have seen before for your garden space. Christy, yes, it is a good deal for sure. All right. Action. We also talked about taking action at the beginning. So speaking of what you can do today, I also promised to leave you with a quick win, something you could do that's easy and free that will help you set sail on your own urban homesteading journey. So here's that action. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything with this today. This is for you to think about today. I want you to go to your space, wherever that is, and see it with new eyes. Where can you sneak in a little growing area? A balcony, a windowsill, a driveway, your parking strip, your yard. Looking at this picture here, a lot of people would not see that as a thriving, beautiful space, but it definitely can be. So go lay eyes, fresh eyes on your space and see if there's something that you could try. And if you're choosing a community garden to do your growing, make that phone call today and find out what you need to do to get a space. Don't let procrastination seep in. Do some research, get the details, and start building some momentum now, so it doesn't just end up being on the back burner or forgotten or something you're overwhelmed later that you're not doing. So this action is easy, free, and builds your momentum to get started. Okay. And finally, you're present. At the beginning, I told you I am a firm believer that we all deserve a little something after getting through an entire webinar. So I've never done this before, but I have a special gift just for you. I'll get the link in the chat in just a second. This is it. So I want you to see a little piece of what the course is all about. So I'm giving you the first, it's a little over 10 pages of the Homestead in the City mini cookbook, which is mostly the beginning information and the appetizers section, which is my favorite food group. The whole book is awesome, and if you get the course, you'll get the whole thing. But if you just wanted to get your free present for coming here today, you'll see the table of contents shows everything that the whole thing has. It's just a fun way to get you started in growing in your garden kitchen. The book has lots of recipes like how to make raisins, grape juice, my famous marinara, borage lemonade, all kinds of things. And like I said, these are mostly plant-based and gluten-free recipes with options if you want to make them more traditional. So I hope you enjoy that present. One more thing, I just wanted to share this with you again. If you would like to do the different payments, make sure you do the PayPal side over here. And then there is a lot to learn when it comes to urban homesteading, which is why I created a course. I want to take all my lessons and trials and tribulations and serve them up to you in a simple, easy to digest package. You're welcome, Christy. Homestead in the City is a really fabulous course for anyone interested in growing their own food. So with all that being said, here's the offer. Here are the things you're going to get. I'm going to paste the link in here if you're ready to enroll in the course. I'll put this in the chat right now. And when you click this link, if you're interested in enrolling and joining our enrollment, you'll just click on any of the orange buttons and it will take you to the shopping cart that I shared with you earlier. And I also want to make sure that I get your free gift in there, the first 10 pages of the mini cookbook. And then, are there any questions that I can answer for anyone today? I would love to help if I can. Let me go check the Q&A box. All right. Do you have to start this at a certain time of year? No, that's what's great. There's lots of different things that you can do. You can start, especially depending on where you live. There are aspects of this plan that you can start any time of year. So yeah. Do you go over the planning stage? Yes. So lots of different ideas for planning will be there for you. You know, what to plant, how to plan your space, all kinds of different aspects of planning are in there as well. Oh, the mini cookbook. Yes. So you can just use it digitally, or you can print it. But besides printing it, it's like got beautiful graphics and things like that. But sometimes those are hard to print. So I also made an easy print version that's not pretty, but it's just like a basic black and white. So you can easy print that one to just have some quick access to. Yes. So someone's asking about dealing with pests in a natural way. I'm so glad that you're asking that, because the last thing you want to do, you know, the whole reason we're doing urban homesteading is because we want to have better health. We want to have things be less dangerous for ourselves. And so you don't want to do all this work, make this beautiful, pristine garden, and then go out there and spray some toxic chemicals on everything that you've grown. So definitely, yeah, there's a section on how to deal with pests in there. there's lots of different ways, lots of natural methods that you can use that we talk about in the course too. Great question. Let's see. The toolbox. Yeah, so the toolbox is its own whole course. It's pretty in depth. I think it's almost 50 pages worth of information. And it takes you through the whole process of all the planning that you need to create and build your space. Yeah, so the now or never bonuses are only available today. That's the only time. Otherwise, those are separate products. And I'm not actually offering either of them right now. The only way you can get them is here at the webinar. And we have the timer going. If there's enough questions, I'll stay that long. But if we don't have too many questions, it might end kind of soon too. So be thinking about that. Are you going to put the buy page link in the chat? Sure. Let me see. Let me do that for you too. I can put, if you guys don't want, great question, Rachel. If you guys don't want the entire information, I'm going to put just the cart in the chat too, so that you can go straight to the buy page. No problem, Rachel. There you go. Great idea. All right. Let's see. Cooking. So yeah, what do you do if you don't enjoy cooking and you're gardening? I love this question. So like I said, you need to become a cook or you need to find someone who is. So if there's somebody at your house who enjoys cooking, let's see. Priscilla, it should be in there. It says me to panelists. Neither of you guys see it? Oh, weird. It's showing up on mine. Let me put it in here again. Oh, not attendees, not panelists. Okay, thank you. Let me change that to everyone. So you guys probably didn't get any of the links then, huh? Okay, let me fix that. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so here is how to enroll in the course. Let me know if that one comes through to you. And then here is the one that's just the shopping cart. You already know you're getting it and you don't need any more information about it. And then here is your present. So you guys let me know if these came through. Brett says yes. Okay. Ta-da! Okay, that should be everything. Let me know if not. Perfect. Okay, good. What question was I answering? Oh, cooking. So yeah, if you are not a fan, oh, my timer paused. Uh-oh. If you are not a fan of cooking, all you need is to know somebody who is. Unless you're lucky enough to have some private stuff. But if you have a partner or a child in the house who enjoys cooking, that would be a good way to offload that. I have a friend who, she does all the gardening and he does all of the cooking. So that's a good tip too. Yeah, but I would also encourage you, like, oh, my timer keeps stopping. Hold on. It wants us to stay here forever. I would also encourage you to use the opportunity to, you know, push yourself and ask yourself, you know, is there something small I can try to cook? Or cook something that doesn't need a recipe. So especially in the summer and stuff, if you're growing a lot of like greens and stuff like that, make yourself a little salad. Even if the dressing is store-bought, you know, it's easy to just make yourself a salad and call it a day that way too. All right, let's see. So it's okay. So if you're harvesting, they were asking for ways. Remember how I said you could get help for harvesting. So I often resort to bribery. So like, for example, I have pretty much everyone I know in the world is born in October. And so all the birthdays can get a little bit overwhelming. And my husband is a home brewer. And so we have a couple apple trees, and if you have an apple tree, that processing all of that is really overwhelming. It's a lot. So you have to, not just picking them, but washing them, peeling them, slicing them, coring them. So we started having a press party, and we take all the apples from our trees over to our friend's house, and they bought just on Amazon, they bought a really cool wooden apple press. And so there's about 10 of us that get together, and all the kids, and we peel the apples, we chop them, we slice them, we put them through the press, and then we make our own fresh cider, and we give some fresh cider to the kids. And then my husband, since he's a brewer, he makes hard cider, and we use that to celebrate all the October birthdays. Another bribe for helping harvest, when my kid was little, all the neighborhood kids would come over to pick blueberries. And while they ate most all of them, they gave some to me too. And blueberries are something that's really good to, I think my internet's cutting out on you guys because this timer is doing weird stuff. Maybe not. Blueberries are something that freezes really well. So that's something that we grow enough of to keep for the whole year too. Great questions. Any other questions I can answer for you today? Make sure you put them in the chat. And it looks like I'm out of questions. So if you wanted to buy quickly before the now or never, make sure you do it in the next few seconds, because it looks like it's coming to an end. I don't see any other questions. You guys, I just want to thank you so much for being here today. Sitting in front of our computers can be hard sometimes. So I really appreciate you joining me. Make sure you come see me on Instagram or at thelittlegreenshoot.com. We also have a free Facebook group called Urban Homesteading on Facebook you can come find. I think I might have a couple more slides for you too. So I just wanted to say I believe in you. We all make way for things that are important to us, and you are so ready. You've got this. You can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. Trust me. And thank you all so much for coming. I'm wishing you so much success and everything you need to get started on your journey. I'm going to stop sharing this. And oh, we got one more message. Hold on. Yes, thank you, Rachel, for coming. It was so great to see you on here. You guys, definitely, if you had a question that you didn't think of and you would like me to answer it, just send me an email. My email is carly@thelittlegreenshoot.com. All right, I'm wishing everybody an amazing day. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.